Hi, it's Steve Klark with Klark Software. Hope things are going well for you. Thanks for your time today. Today I'd like to take you through the retirement profile. It's in our personal program. It's one of our most popular proposals. So when you're in the personal program, we're over on the left-hand side here where the two rows of columns are. We're going to go to the fifth icon down the left-hand side and we're going to click on that. And you're going to see now we're at the input screen of the retirement profile. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to load the save case for this proposal. So I'm going to click on File in the top left. I'm going to click on Open Case in the drop down. And then in this menu, I'm going to go down to Samples, Personal. I'm going to highlight that and I'm going to click Open. And now you can see that the inputs have populated into this proposal. And the retirement profile is a great way to start talking about retirement with your client or prospect. And you only need to ask a simple question. And that would be, do you know if you're on track for retirement? I guarantee more than half your people don't know. And this is a great way to show somebody, number one, if they're on track for retirement. And then number two, if they are not, it's going to allow you to use a lot of the inventory of product that you have that can fit that retirement need. So we have John Smith. He's 35 years old. 65 is his retirement age. Life expectancy is age 80. He's making $100,000 a year right now. He wants to retire on 85% of his income. Right now he has $50,000 in assets. And one thing to keep in mind is this proposal deals with qualified assets. So we're talking about IRAs, 401ks, things like that. Okay? We move to the next piece of information. His income is going to grow at 3% annually. With the money he saves, the assets are going to grow at 6% during the working years. And then the income rate of return, or the retirement years, the rate of return in the assets is going to be 5%. Some people drop that amount in the retirement years because you're not contributing anymore and you're pulling money out. But it's up to you what you want to do there. Inflation at retirement is going to be 3%. And then you're going to see you have the option to include the Social Security benefit. So if you hit the down arrow and you elect no, it's going to take Social Security out of the equation. But we're going to leave it in there. So I'm going to highlight yes, and it keeps it in there. To the right now he's getting 100% of the benefit. But you can customize this number. So let's say he retires at an earlier age, or let's just say, you know what, Social Security is really not going to be worth that much when you retire. We can knock it down to 50%, 75%, whatever you're comfortable with. But I'm going to put it back at 100%. And then you're going to see we have a cost of living index of 1.5% on the Social Security. Now, in blue here, we have the percent of annual income needed to be saved. So what we're saying here is, John Smith, you're short on retirement. What you have to do is you have to save 18.32% of your income from age 35 to age 65. You have to do that each year. If you do that, then you're on track for retiring on 85% of your income. The blue numbers to the right is with that 3% annual growth each year in income. There is the last year of his working income, and then we dip to 85%. There's the first year of retirement income, and then at age 80, there's the last year of retirement income. Or we could take this lump sum today, if he had this laying around, maybe an inheritance, something like that, and he threw it into this vehicle that's earning 6%, that would take care of his retirement needs. So what I want to do here is I want to go down and I do want to print the spreadsheet. I do want to show you this, and it's up to you if you want to show it to the client. So let's go over and we're going to hit the preview tab. And here's the graph. So let me maximize this for you so we get a better look at it. So at the top of the page is the data we inputted. And then the paragraph is really going to summarize everything real quick for the client that you're going to go through with the data. And the big thing is that last sentence. You'd have to save 18.32% of your annual income for the next 30 years to reach your retirement goals. That's the number right there. And then graphically, we're going to show you this information. So let me move this down for you. And here is the graph. So the blue is the income growing at 3% annually each year. You can see the retirement timeline at age 65. Red is the funding required to stay on track for retirement. And then again, we go back to that age 65 timeline. You're going to see the retirement income dip to 85%. And there's your Social Security right there. Now, one thing to keep in mind is, I want to go back and show you that 18.32%. If he's making annual contributions right now towards his retirement, we're going to have to subtract that amount from the 18.32. So he might say, you know what, I do have a Roth going, and I'm putting in 3% a year there. And then I'm putting 7% into work, and they're matching 3. So we have 3 for the Roth, 7 that he's contributing, 3 that the company's contributing. That's a total of 13. What we're going to do is we're going to subtract that 13 from the 18.32. So now we're down to 5.32%. And what you have to do is go back to that inventory of product. What can you offer him to knock that 5.32 down to 0? An IRA, an annuity, even a life product that generates value, a permanent plan, a whole life plan that generates value for a future use. That could come into play here. Or if you're involved with other assets, selling those, you could use those to knock down the 5.32%. So to go back into that, again, just to recap there, if he's already making annual contributions into some type of retirement, then you're going to subtract that amount from the 18.32. So again, let's say he's throwing 3% into a Roth, 7% into a 401k at work, and the company's matching 3. That's a total of 13. And we're going to subtract that from the 18.32. So we have a balance of 5.32%. And that's what you have to fund. How are you going to help your client get that 5.32 down to 0 so he can achieve his goals for retiring? So now what we're going to do is, I'm going to just minimize this for a second, and we're going to go to page 2. Here's next, and we do have a spreadsheet. Max that for you. And you're going to see his annual income at age 35. It's growing at 3% annually. There's his assets, the next column over, growing at 6% annually. And there's a required annual contribution. That's what he has to contribute annually to stay on track for retirement. Then you're going to see we're going to hit the retirement timeline. The income drops to 85%. The assets start to deplete, and now you're going to see that the Social Security starts kicking in. Then we go to next. There is a third page. I'm going to slide up here and show it to you. And you're going to see again the income keeps increasing, the assets deplete, Social Security, and what you have to remember is at life expectancy, the funds are used up. So what you might want to do is throw a couple of years cushion on there. So again, if he goes beyond life expectancy, he still has funding. Now, one other thing we can do here is I want to close this, and I just want to step to the right to the Retirement Profile Advanced. So it's the 5th icon down the right-hand side. And what you're going to see here is it's the same exact inputs on page 1. In fact, we have the same inputs here, but we have a different amount in what needs to be saved. And that's because we have a second page here. So again, we're going to see he's at age 65 is when he wants to retire, and his life expectancy is age 80. When you go to page 2, what we can do now is we can adjust the retirement income. So what we're doing here is at age 70, we're going to say, you know what? He only needs 80% of his income. And maybe at age 75, he only needs 75% of his income now. So when we go back to the first page, you're going to see he only needs to save 17.03% of his annual income. In the retirement profile, with a static amount of 85% of his income needed for retirement, that was at 18.32%. We could go back here to the advanced information and let's just knock it up a little bit. Let's just say that maybe there's a healthcare issue and he's going to go from 80% to 90%. And then I'm going to make it 95. And let's just see what it does here. Okay? We're going to click on preview. And what you're going to see now is the amount due, has now increased to 19.6%. So playing with those percentages changes the amount needed. So you do have that flexibility if you want to fine tune it a little bit. So I'm going to close this one. I'm going to go back to the retirement profile because I just want to show you a couple other things here. And really what happens with the numbers if he wants to say, you know what, I want to retire at 62. So watch the number down here, 18.32. And that's when he wanted to retire at age 65. But if he wants to retire at 62, now that number jumps to 26.17%. Pretty huge. You're taking away 3 working years and you got to fund 3 additional retirement years. On the flip side, you could tell your prospect or client, you ever thought about working to age 68? So now we're at 26.17%. Let's watch that number. Now it's down to 12.35%. So again, we've added 3 working years and we've subtracted 3 retirement years. The same thing could be said if his life expectancy increased. So you watch that 12.35. Now we're going to add 5 years. It's up to 17.62%. So you do have a little flexibility here that you could work with the client. Don't do all kinds of combinations because you're going to get off track with the sales. But again, this is a great way to get the retirement conversation started. Do you know if you're on track for retirement? Simple question. If you have questions, don't hesitate to give me a call. I appreciate your time and take care.